Well, welcome back to 45 News Utah. We got 55 minutes on the recording, so welcome back, everybody. Hello, YouTube. How are you? Had a lot of videos on Facebook. I do Facebook Live around noon, and there's a reason for that because that is about the only way I can get any news up because of the uh, issues I've had lately with uploading and all kinds of cool stuff. So I even tried Rumble for a minute and the camera, permission, trying to get into my account. It's been a disaster. So, just so everybody knows, if you're gonna say stuff about my hair, be a hippie, call me hippie, stuff like that, just don't. It's not even worth it. This is a Christian station. Uh, if you're not a follower or believer in Jesus Christ as the Lord and Savior, or in our Father in heaven, then you're just wasting your time. So anyway, so let's get into it. Just kind of go through some news, give you guys an idea what's happening. I don't know, war news. Let's get to the Ukraine war. I know that this is a disaster as far as what's been happening in Ukraine, but we should try to cover some of this because I do a daily update. The heater's going to be loud. I have a little heater down here in the newsroom, but we'll have to deal with it. Sorry about that. I know the audio isn't that great. Hopefully someday this will get big enough to actually have the ability financially through donations or ads to become something bigger and easier that has a little more funding and help from the viewers. But at this point, 45 News Utah is what it is. And if you enjoy it, thanks for watching. If you don't enjoy it, just move right along. Move right along because it is what it is. So without further delay, we'll start the news. So this is coming from CNN, November 18, 2022. Ukrainian news. Zelensky says energy supply issues persist after Russian strikes. Yes, Russia has sent 100 missiles in there, blew up critical infrastructure, all kinds of problems. So they're talking about energy supply issues. They're talking about the director of Ukraine's Energy Industry Research Center said earlier Friday that power had been restored nearly everywhere in the country after 10 million customers lost service due to missile strikes. Even when utilities are repaired infrastructure in Ukraine, customers regain access. Operators have had to widely impose emergency cuts to deal with the country's diminishing supply. So as long as they continue along this line, there is going to be this perpetuated in a continuation of exactly what's happening. This war is not ending. There is no end to the war in sight. Zelensky is not going to sign a treaty or sign an armistice to stop the war where it's at. Russia is not going to be backed into a corner. They drop back to the Dnieper River after this. Whatever happens here forward is going to decide the fate of the future of humanity. So, because remember, a Cermat 2 missile cares not what your opinion is. Just factual. It's not being rude. It's just saying that the fact is nuclear weapons don't care. We don't back a nuclear armed country, especially the most heavily armed nuclear country on planet Earth, into a corner that is called insanity. So, but we are accustomed to insanity lately here in the West. All kinds of crazy stuff going on. So, on to the next. First train leaves Kiev for liberated Kherson after 8 months of occupation. Just continuing, I don't know how long it's going to last. I don't know how long their train's going to last. I think you rebuild it or get blown up. So, Russian officials claim possibility of prisoner swap for arms trafficker is getting stronger. The Kremlin hopes for a positive outcome of negotiations on prisoner exchange for Russian arms trafficker, whatever. That's neither here nor there. Okay. So, both the two sides haven't reached a common denominator yet. The possibility of prisoner swap is not only possible, but getting stronger. Off we go. Power has been restored to nearly 100%. We talked about that. Ukraine teen fled. We don't care about that. Almost half, it just jumped, sorry about that. Almost half of our energy system has been disabled. Ukraine Prime Minister. That was 13 hours ago. And by the time we hit Let's see. It's having a hard time getting back to it. So within an hour of posting that, they had it restored. So on the ground, Kiev residents described life without power. This is neither here nor there. So they're still in a war zone. Gates Foundation pledges $7 billion for Africa as Ukraine war diverts donor cash. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, $7 billion. He has a lot of. I can't even say it. I'll get in trouble. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation was involved in a lot of stuff down there, trying to with centers or with labs, just say that, disease control, viruses, stuff like that. So I hope I don't get in trouble for that. Egypt may be a tourist hotspot for Russians, but at COP27, Ukrainians' pavilion is finding new allies. Okay. Russia, Thursday, missile strike targets Ukraine's missile production facility and energy infrastructure. Ukrainian experts at site of missile incident in Poland. Okay, well, they're there. Okay. Traces of explosives found near Nord Stream pipeline, Sweden says. They're saying it's Russian. The blast at the Nord Stream pipeline in September was caused by an act of sabotage, Swedish prosecutor said Friday, after evidence of explosives were found at the site. In a statement, the leading prosecutor described the incident as a gross sabotage, adding that the trace of explosives were found at the scene. The preliminary investigation will continue and has yet to determine any charges. The statement said the prosecutor's office declined to give further comments, Reuters reported. Okay. So, I don't know. Maybe they're blaming Germany or Russia. I don't know. Russia launches assault around Bakhmut. I don't know. Whatever. As conflict in East escalates, Kremlin says Western countries could be guiding element in negotiations with Ukraine. 9 people left dead after Russian missile strike. Temperatures plummet in Ukraine. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. That was basically a huge nothing burger. Asia Pacific leaders condemn war. Renew calls for open trade. None of this matters anything until the war stops. 10 million Ukrainians without power. We went through that three hours ago. BBC. Yeah, this is all big nothing burgers. Big, huge, flat out nothing burgers. So let's go to the next. Let's go to RT Television. This is mostly or solely funded by the Russian government. Ukraine has policy of executing POWs, Russia says. They have some evidence on a video that was released of Ukraine possibly executing Russian POWs. U.S. Names war crime prosecutor to investigate Trump. Of course. German howitzers face problems on the battlefield. Elon Musk reinstates some high-profile Twitter accounts. U.S.-funded video game to inoculate kids against fake news. That's just lovely. So it looks like a lot of MSM is going to be in a lot of trouble, right? Because remember the Hunter Biden story? It was Russian misinformation. Like Marjorie Greene Taylor's coming out talking about the entire debacle that's with the money that's been passed to Ukraine. Nobody's watching it. Nobody knows where it's going. This aid needs to be tracked, every dollar. And with the FTX debacle that's happened there, yeah, just saying, they need to investigate a bunch of stuff. That's what's happening, what's going to happen, what should happen. But the House is going to pass this and put this bill out, Taylor and all the Republicans, and it's not going to go anywhere because the Senate's controlled by the Democrats still. But I think we should know. Russia and China to abandon dollar in energy trade. That's a pretty big hit to the U.S. dollar. We're going to see some economic fallout because of this, but Europe's in trouble. So financially, because of the lack of energy, so don't worry too much about the dollar crashing anytime soon. New York Times suggests why Russia still has missiles because they're making missiles and because they have a lot of Soviet missile stock. There you go, fixed all that. Russian delegation denies visas. Okay, whatever. Ukraine tries to pressure Georgia into joining fight against Russia. This is what the let's see who talked about this. Kiev attempted to push Georgia into joining the conflict against Moscow, whatever his name claims. Looks like Georgia could have been turned into a shooting range if opposition leaders had managed to take control of the country. Prime Minister, whatever his name is, claims. He said Kiev had tried to pressure that guy into joining the conflict with Russia. In an address to Parliament on Friday, he said the Ukrainian attempt to open a second front against Russia in Georgia, we did not an interpretation and not a legend, but a direct quote from what was said at the press conference. Okay, glad Georgia didn't do that. I'm just glad that Georgia didn't do that. U.S. running low on arms to give to Ukraine. This comes from CNN. The Pentagon is reportedly concerned about its stockpile of artillery shells as well as air defense and anti-tank missiles. Concerns is growing in the U.S. government about its inability to keep supplying Ukraine with state-of-the-art systems and ammunition amid its conflict with Russia, CNN reported on Thursday. According to the 3 U.S. officials interviewed by the outlet, some of the challenges the U.S. is facing in terms of supporting Ukraine, including a dwindling stockpile of arms, the ability to defend of the defense industry to cope with the demand. One told CNN, blah blah. So they're particularly concerned about the 155 military artillery shells for the howitzers and production arms such as the HARMS HARMS anti-radiation missile and the GMLRS surface-to-surface missiles and the Javelin anti-tank missiles. So the Pentagon's having troubles. Tons more money needs to be dumped into that. U.S. arsenals depleted. We have our stockpile strategic oil reserves depleted. We have massive storms in New York, massive snowfall hitting there. We have a lot of problems going on with southern border wide open. Fentanyl's coming up, kill over 56,000 Americans. We have the cartels pushing people across the border in record numbers. There is millions and millions of people. We had Chuck Schumer come out yesterday and say that we need to legalize the illegal immigrants because American citizens are not producing children, and we need workers, and the machine needs children. They need to reproduce, but Americans are not doing it. So Chuck Schumer of the Democratic Party said illegal aliens that crossed our border illegally need citizenship because they'll have children and you won't. Look at the last 6 years. I wonder what they've been pushing. And why now are they trying to bring up millions and millions and millions of people across the southern border to have children to feed the machine? Just saying. Captain Obvious. Captain Obvious, YouTube. Captain freaking Obvious. Just saying. Okay, Western Ukraine is a proxy fight. Azov Battalion, check it out for yourself. Nobody really cares. They're just being ground up. They're just being ground up. Russia comments on potential prisoner swap. We went through that. Poland qualifies Ukrainian missile strike as unfortunate accident. It was a long ways away from Kiev. U.S. Republicans call for scrutiny of aid to Ukraine. We talked about that. Marjorie Greene Taylor's kind of leading that charge in the House. Lots of nefarious things happening across the American government at this time. A lot of things are being brought up. And the end result of this entire war is either Zelensky decides to sign a ceasefire, Ukraine is conquered completely, where they surrender, capitulate, or Russia launches a thermonuclear strike on the West, because they clearly stated they're not going to use nuclear weapons on Ukraine. So that's been stated since day one. Ukraine is not the potential target of a thermonuclear strike by Russia. It's going to be the decision-making centers of NATO and the United States. This has been expressed by commentators and former, and also people that are in the Russian Federation now in their government. It's going to be us that's going to be nuked, not Ukraine. So the fight needs to end now. So that's just the way it is. We're going to try to upload this to YouTube. Go to Facebook at 12 noon, right around that time. Like, follow, or just follow 45 News Utah for the updates daily. The problem I have right now is I have to get the YouTube channel up and running. I'm going to try to upload this video with 15, 16 minutes to 17 minutes of airtime and see if I can actually get it to load. So thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. If you want to hear more, we'll try to push the envelope farther and farther down the rabbit hole we will go, but I have to see if I can even garner enough people to follow the YouTube channel to even make it worthwhile. Everybody can understand that. So coming to you from Cedar City, Utah. Thanks for watching.